Take three. Three times the charm, they say. Alright, we're restarting this video for the third time because I just can't get through the first two. How's everybody doing? This is Harry, one of the grumpy gentlemen. And I'm responding to Ian, the grumpiest Welshman sheepshagger around. And he posed a question on community chat about his our love of films have changed over the years. How our love of film has changed over the years, and our cinema experience has changed. And I would say growing up, like he mentioned Star Wars, and I seen Star Wars on its first run, and I got excited when the prequels got out. I wasn't too keen on them, and then the last three in the trilogy, I liked two of the three, which was the Last Jedi, which I didn't care for. The Force Awakens I loved, and The Rise of Skywalker I liked. Not as much as The Force Awakens, but I liked. But when you're a kid, you go to these films like Indiana Jones. I saw that in the theater. Star Wars, Rocky, whatever. You watch these films back in the day, and you don't care about storyline. You don't care about you looking at the special effects and saying how cool it is, and then you go watch it nowadays on DVD or Blu-ray, and you're just like, oh, how cheesy some of these are. Not so much with the Star Wars ones, but there's a film called The Last Starfighter. It came out in the 80s, and I said, well, man, those special effects are really cool on this. Well, back in the 80s, you never seen computer graphics like that, really. And I bought it on Blu-ray, and I seen it at the store, at a local Walmart, and I was like, oh, it was only about $5, $6, something like that. So I picked it up, and I watched it, and I was like, how the hell did the special effects are so damn cheesy, and it looks like a cheap video game. But that's how, I mean, your view of things are different, and then the times are different from now. And the only time I ever get excited about going to the theater or the cinema to watch films is if there's a new Star Wars film coming out. I did not go see Solo because I had no interest in it, really. And I watched it on Blu-ray, and I didn't care for it so much, but I liked Rogue One and enjoyed that very much. And then, like I said, I liked the last three films in the trilogy. So that's like my excitement for it. I did get excited to go see Bohemian Rhapsody, and with the wife we went and seen that because I love Queen's music. And my thing is, if I would have watched that, if that movie was made when I was a teenager, I wouldn't have cared so much about it. I enjoyed the movie and the music in it, but when I was sitting in the theater, I was sitting there picking out timeline issues with the film to myself. So I was like, well, this didn't happen that year. They moved that up 4 years, when they were doing the We Will Rock You. I think it said 1980, and it didn't come out in 1980. It came out in like 1977 or so. So, anyways, the timeline threw me off, but at the end I cried because of the Live Aid show, because I remember that happening, watching it on TV, and I'm thinking, wow, that was 30 some odd years ago, 35 years ago. Doesn't seem that long, but it is, when they're playing 80s music now on classic rock stations. It's amazing. But yeah, my view of things are different now, because like Ian said, you're not, when you go to a movie theater when you're young, you don't care about plot holes. You don't care about how a thing is structured. You're basically looking at the special effects and how you enjoyed the film, lightsaber fights like that. If you're a Star Wars fan, Rocky was the thing with coming home and pretending I was a boxer stuff. So yeah, that's on that. That's all I have to say on that. Pretty much is just, over time you get older and your perspective changes, and then you start looking for things instead of just sitting there and enjoying the film for what it is, instead of looking for things, because you're not a critic. That's not your job. You're there to enjoy a film, and that's there for the entertainment. And of course, there's going to be films you're going to like, and there's some films that you're not going to like. So then this other one is about your cinema experience. Too much CGI for me. Now, I like older films, so the problem with older films is that when they're driving, I'm talking about films from the 30s and 40s mainly, when they're driving in a car and they have a process screen in front of them, and you can really tell, even in the 50s it was like that, and up to the 60s, they would have a process screen or rear projection, whatever you want to call it, where they make it like they're driving in a car, and then there's a film going on in the back. And sometimes the car is a lot smaller than what the road is, Anyways, it gets tacky. And in comedies, it's used pretty badly because, the car's not moving. It's on a gimbal, but the car on the screen, the road is jittering back and forth, and it doesn't match up. But it's fun. But but that's quaint because that was the beginning of film. Silent movies I like because everything was done for real. Stunts were done for real. Everything was done on the streets. The only special effects I had were in-camera shots where they did it inside the camera. So that was a big, that's why I like silent movies. Comedy, especially Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, all that shit was done for real. But nowadays, CGI heavy, too much. Too much. I watched Aquaman and I thought I was fucking stepping into a fucking painting. The story was okay, but it was just too much CGI. I mean, what else can you do? That's the only way you can make that movie, I guess. No practical effects. Jay talks about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which he does every day, pretty much, which is fine. It's his favorite film. But he makes a point. Quentin Tarantino uses practical effects. Instead of CGIing Hollywood Boulevard, they went ahead and put up signs, and spent the money and put up signs and recreated Hollywood Boulevard like it would have been in 1969, down to posters, newspapers, everything. That I like. That put people to work. There was an effort made into that. Not saying that sitting behind a computer desk is not a lot of work. Whatever, put in an effort, but it's not as much effort as it is because that's his love of films, and it's probably a lot cheaper to do it that way. But the credit list at the end of the movie is 10 times long. If you ever sit through one of those Marvel movies or DC movies or animated movies where there's CG in it, there's tons of people who work on that thing. That's a lot of money, a lot of time. And I don't think there's times they use it when they really shouldn't use it. I'm not a big horror fan, but I noticed that watching the film. I can't remember the name of it, but they had, and Jay talks about horror movies, but somebody got shot, and you could tell that it was just the splatter of it was, computer generated. It wasn't like somebody just threw freckles on somebody. Totally not the same as it was back in the day. In the 70s and 60s, where everybody used red paint. And if you go back even earlier, anybody who got shot never had blood on them anyways. You never seen a bullet hole, whatever. It was just the quaintness of it. I don't know, that's my 2 cents. I'm not feeling really up to talking, still, feeling like crap, but yeah, the cinema experience has changed a lot. where I don't enjoy going to the movies unless it's something I really want to see. And I'm looking more towards independent films where they don't use a lot of CGI and use practical effects, and I don't know, just throws me off. I don't mind using a little bit of it, but when it's really heavy and it's noticeable, it takes the enjoyment out of it for me, anyways. Talk to you later. Good topic, Ian. Y'all have a good one. Bye.